Namaste, Sadhvi ji. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Namaste. Jai Shri Krishna. How are
No.
you?
Jai Shri Krishna. Oh my God, Sadhvi ji, it's so beautiful to see you. It is bringing
It's been
tears
much
of joy
too
to my.
long.
It's been so long, but Sadhvi ji, we're live right now. We have close to 1 million people listening to
Wonderful.
you, and we're looking forward to hearing from you from the banks of the Ganges in Rishikesh. Also, there's a little bit of dejection right now because of the fact that the lockdown has been extended. So we can, all of us are just waiting to hear your words of inspiration and motivation. But first, tell us, how are things on the banks of the Ganges? How is Mother Ganga faring during the lockdown?
Mother Ganga is obviously always great. She's the mother goddess. And now, not only is she divine and holy and the giver of life and liberation, but now she's also remarkably, amazingly clean. I think she's the cleanest she's been in such a long time. And what we're seeing here as Ganga gets cleaner and clearer and dancing. I had the beautiful opportunity to have a bath on Ganga Saptami, and the water was so clean and so clear and so healthy. And it makes us realize we are the problem, that all that has changed since pre-lockdown is we've gone inside. And so it really reminds us to have a renewed commitment to do whatever we need to do to change our ways so that even when our doors are open and we are outside, that Mother Ganga stays healthy, that our air, our water, all of the environment should stay healthy. We shouldn't have to have this choice between either the environment is healthy and we're sick, or we are healthy and the environment is sick. So on the banks of Mother Ganga here every day, we are so blessed and so full of gratitude for her grace, and also so deeply committed and renewed in our commitment every day to keep these waters clean and clear even after the lockdown.
Thank you, Sadhviji, for again giving us that message that it's not about it's a time to go within, and it's a time to give and to do seva. And just a brief introduction to Sadhviji, who needs no introduction, but she is the director of WASH. She's a spiritual global figure. She is the heart of Paramatma Ketan Ashram, really, I would say, and so full of love towards fellow beings and everyone. And she's written a book called Come Home to Yourself, which I have actually read and reread many times. And it's a lot of questions that have come her way over many, many years, and she's given answers to them. So in today's conversation, I wanted to choose some of the questions that I thought were pertinent towards the situation that we're in. And the purpose of the Being Yoga Festival and for you giving us your valuable time is to raise money for charity. We're trying to raise some money and encourage people to give, even if it's just 150 rupees, so that we can really give it to those who need it most, migrant workers with daily wages who don't have that income anymore. But Sadhviji, could you tell us why? Actually, by giving to others, we're not doing them a favor, but we're healing ourselves. We think that, oh my gosh, you've done someone a really big favor, but how does that giving actually, it's a favor to us? Viewers
Of
would love
course
to
it
hear
is.
this.
Sure. So first of all, it's really important to realize and remember that service is a spiritual practice. Service is not about me who has giving you who don't have. Service is about me having the opportunity to truly experience the divine truth of myself through you. So when we speak about karma yoga, for example, well, karma is action, and yoga, of course, is union. And so karma yoga is that action through which we experience that divine union, that oneness with the truth of who we are, with God, with the awareness that we are not separate from God, and with the awareness that we are not separate from anyone and anything in the creation. So giving service is not about, I spend 2 hours on the first Saturday of every month volunteering. I get to tick off the box that says spiritual, or I get to tick off the box that says seva, service. It's about every minute and every moment thinking, how can I, through these actions I'm taking, experience union with the divine? And so my whole life, every minute, every moment, becomes an opportunity to really be a tool, a vehicle, a vessel, an instrument of God's work here in form on earth. And so whether we're serving with ton, mun, or done, whether I'm actually using my hands to make food for the hungry and serve it to them, whether I'm using it to actually construct, an orphanage or a school and paint it, or whether I'm using my mind to plan what is the best way to feed, to uplift, to educate, using my mind, using my abilities to bring a program, a project together, or whether I'm using my resources. I'm writing a check, I'm donating money, or I'm donating in kind. Whatever I'm using, it's all an opportunity. It is our spiritual practice to remember we are not separate. We're not separate from the Creator, and we are not separate from the creation. And as we give, we receive. We receive the experience of remembering our oneness with the world. My favorite way of thinking about this, Ira, is if I trip and I fall and I hurt, say, my right leg, my left leg is going to pick up the extra weight. We call that limping. Now, nobody ever has to say, oh, amazing, humanitarian, wonderful left leg. Could you be so kind to kind of do us a favor for a little while and pick up some extra weight?
Yeah.
The left leg does it automatically because it knows the right leg is self. And it's not expecting some kind of an award or some kind of recognition. And it doesn't say, Hare, enough? I did this last week. When is the right leg going to pick up the weight? And then if next week I get a stomach ache or a headache or a fever, the body is going to keep responding to all of that, which impacts us without saying, how do you forget it? Cello, I could do the leg injury, I could do the stomach, but I'm done. No headache now, come back and see me next year. It's going to keep responding because it knows this entire being is self. And that's the opportunity we have when we serve at this time and at every time, is to really experience our oneness of being, of spirit, of self with all of those who are suffering, with Mother Earth, with all of creation. That's the opportunity we've been given.
Sadhviji, that's really wonderful to use this negative time, or what appears as a negative time, to actually be doing a lot of positive seva, not just for ourselves but for the world. So I think you really have encouraged everyone to give a little bit. But I just want to switch gears here a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit about your journey. Sadhviji literally went from Hollywood, where she grew up, to Holywood as your book says. And in from the lap of luxury to the simplicity of an ashram, where it's quite the opposite here, especially amongst the younger generation. They're all striving and working hard because they want to go live that life in Hollywood in the lap of luxury. But one of the reasons that you did stay here, that you are in the ashram and you're doing so much seva, is because you've mentioned that you learn so much from being in India, and this country has so much for everyone to learn. And most of us sometimes take that for granted. We're almost it's as if you're looking at a beautiful view and you stop appreciating it because you see it every single day. So could you tell us a few lessons that we can learn from being in India and from living here?
Mm. So, yeah, India, you spoke about going from the lap of luxury to simplicity, and it's really an interesting phenomenon, because I've been here now almost 25 years, and so many people say to me, my God, I can't believe how you left everything to be here. This is the way that so frequently I get introduced all over the world with a sab kuch chhod diya. And I laugh because I only left that which was actually not providing me with really what my heart and my soul and my being needed. I left that which was offering me a very superficial level of happiness, meaning, oh, I got another A on an exam, or, oh, then maybe you get this job and you can make this amount of money, or, oh, we had this great meal in this restaurant, or we went to this fun party, or took a vacation at this resort, or went shopping and bought this. And we know that that isn't where happiness lies, because every time we shop, we're not actually happier 24 hours later. Every time we come back from a party or a movie, how long does that happiness last? The pizza and ice cream. By the next day, we're exactly where we were before, if not even lower, because now I have to find something else to make me happy. Happiness was there as long as the movie was on, or the party was on, or the pizza was on. But the minute it's over, so is the happiness. And so I don't feel like I made some kind of great sacrifice. I feel like I made a choice for a deeper, fuller experience of joy, of meaning in life, of peace, than I had previously been offered. In the West, we're told, oh, you want to be happy, you want to have success, so yeah, you need this type of degree, this type of job, this amount of money, this type of house, and you have all those things. And yet at the end of the day, the percentage of people in the West who need to take pills to go to sleep at night, the rates of prescriptions for antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicine. Ira, the top 10 medicines prescribed in America: antidepressants, anti-anxiety, sleeping pills, and Viagra. So we literally have reached a point where we've got people in outer space. We've accomplished everything, achieved everything. But in order to go to sleep at night, I need to take a pill. In order to drag myself out of bed in the morning, I need to take a pill. And what I saw here was so beautiful. There's a level of happiness in this country, in the traditional world of what we call Bhartiya Sanskriti, the spiritual traditional India. I saw women walking through the Himalayas with pounds of firewood on their heads to go back home to cook the evening meal. And you'd say, Kaise aap? Bas sab Bhagwan ki kripa. Or the sweeper on the street, aap kaise hain? Sab Ganga ki kripa. there's a level of joy, a level of meaning that no one I knew in America had. And the teaching of that, as you asked, is that it's much more about our internal connection to the divine. It's much more about, as Puja Swamiji always says, filling ourself than filling our self. In the West, we think of abundance as that which enables me to build a mansion while other people live in shacks, or to eat caviar while other people starve. And in India, we know that abundance is actually the inner awareness that my cup runneth over. And that's really what I experience so deeply here. It's a culture that feeds first and eats second. And the joy that they experience in feeding, in giving, fills their hearts. Whereas the culture that I came from was a culture that was all about what's for me. And so for me, it's been such an extraordinary blessing to be able to be here. And the other, just last point to mention, I mean, there's so much about this culture, but last point for this question, I would think, is this is a culture that is rooted in the awareness that everything is sacred. And so we bow to the tulsi plant before we pick a leaf. We bow to the water, we bow to the fire, we bow to the sun. And it's this awareness that the creation is sacred. Every breath is sacred. We bow to Mother Earth before we put our feet on her in the morning. We take Ganga's name as we bathe in our shower. And it's this extraordinary opportunity for every minute and every moment of our lives to be holy and to be sacred. And that is actually the greatest and deepest wealth that we can ever possibly imagine.
Wow, Sadhviji, that's so wonderful and so well said. I'm almost at a loss of words, but I shouldn't be because I have one last question, and then we have a lot of questions coming in. And we told the people who have the best questions that they're going to win signed copies of your book. And so they're all looking forward to that. But one last question from my side. Salviji, you just mentioned success and, spirituality in our last conversation. In America, success is measured by abundance. But what's also kind of happening today is that people look to spirituality. I think, oh, this is kind of also now on my to-do list now, is to meditate and to, be quote unquote spiritual. And this is going to lead to success in business, you know? So that's one question. And sort of right alongside that, is it possible to be successful and have all that abundance, but at the same time be on a spiritual path? Can we have those two things together as well? So sort of two questions in one. So can we have both of those things together? And also there's the other thing about using spirituality as a toolbox for success.
Yes, beautiful.
Material success.
We could do a whole session just on this topic. So first of all, in terms of the idea of spirituality as the means rather than the end, so meditate so that you can be concentrated in your work, or meditate so that you're more creative in your entrepreneurship, or meditate so that you can rise higher on the career ladder. This is backwards. Now, yes, of course, meditation helps everywhere. But the dilemma with that particular worldview is it puts success in business as the higher goal, and my spiritual practice as a way to get there. Whereas actually, my spiritual practice is that which gives me all of that which I'm looking for in the outer world. Look, I've got a background in science, a background in psychology, so I always try to think of things in that way. And if you look at people's insatiable drive to go higher and higher and higher and more on the ladder, The question always is what will you get from it? And we don't have time here to go through all of the steps, but I can cut to the end for you, which is the bottom line that everyone wants is, and then I will be happy. So I will do very well in the workplace, then I will get promoted, then I will make more money, then I will be able to buy whatever I want, then people will like me. End of the day, and then I will be. Now, spirituality takes you there right away. I don't need to become the CEO of a company in order to go through this whole chakra that finally brings me back to happiness. Meditation itself is the key to the unfolding of my real inner happiness. And so when we meditate and go on a spiritual path, it's really important to realize this is the means and it is the end. This is not a stepping stone for your work. It's not a stepping stone for how to be more successful in the world. It's a stepping stone for the ultimate success, which is to actually experience the divinity, the truth, the fullness, the wholeness of who you are. That's the success. Success in the outer world keeps going up and down as our stock market and share markets go up and down. And then, though, as you asked about, can we have both? Of course you can. And so, as you live a spiritual life, can you succeed? Of course. There's nothing spiritually that says, thou shalt live like a pauper. There's nothing that says, thou shalt live in a shack, thou shalt not have anything, thou shalt be poverty-stricken. The dilemma, though, is not about what we have. It's about the focus of our mind. If my mind is focused always on, I need more, what does that mean? It means I'm already a pauper. If I don't feel like I am enough or have enough, I'm poor. Doesn't matter what I have. And so through my spiritual practice, I realize I am already abundant. My cup runneth over. And I've got these great skills, great abilities, great intuition, great creativity, great initiative that the universe has given me to be this tool, this vessel, this vehicle, this instrument in God's hands to work, to do my duty, to do my dharma. So we do it. And if it happens to bring financial prosperity, nothing wrong with it. Dwarka was a city made of gold, ruled over by Bhagwan Krishna. Fantastic. But Lanka was also a city made of gold, ruled over by Ravan. The problem was not the gold. The problem is who is running the city. Is it Krishna, divinity, or is it Ravan, demonic nature, greed, lust, ego? And so that's what's so important, is to keep our minds focused spiritually. Then we do our duty, and if the money comes, wonderful. It means that God wants us to use that in service of the world. We all, as we began by talking about, have tan, man, and dhan. Some of us are meant to use our thun, use our body. Some of us are meant to use our man, our minds, our planning, our skills. Some of us are meant to write checks, donate money. We all have the different ways of serving. But if financial abundance is coming in, understand it means the universe wants you to use it to serve.
Wow, Sadhvi, that's really poignant. Thank you so much. It's again, every word of yours leaves me sort of in deeper thought. And so I feel like I need to pause here and think about it. But right now is not the time for me to do that. But we have a lot of questions coming in for you. Um, we are just going to take two questions. We have Shreya is asking, what is the best service one can do for fellow human beings in the context of giving?
The best service that you can do is to realize that the truth of who you are, your highest dharma, your highest identity is love. Whether we call it God, or we call it divinity, or we call it consciousness, or we call it spirit, or we call it love. That is the truth of who you are. And if who I am, if the core of me is love, well, what does love do? Love gives love. Water gives wetness. Fire gives heat. Love gives love. That's the dharma of love. And when you realize that that is who you are, then every moment of your life is lived in love. And so whether it's interacting with people around you, whether it's your profession, whether it's your creativity, whether it's your words, your deeds, it becomes every aspect of who you are as love. And so you serve yourself because, of course, remember, when we talk about service of humanity, you are also in that humanity. It's not compassion for all minus the self, service of all minus the self. You are also in that. And the greatest service you can do for humanity is to realize the truth of yourself. Because if I'm miserable and I'm depressed and I feel empty, I'm going to need to keep consuming in order to feel whole. As misery, I'm going to share misery and spread misery. But if I realize I am love, I'm going to share love. I'm going to spread love. I'm going to feel so abundant inside that whatever I have, I want to share. Whether it's my smiles, my laughs, my love, my resources, my time, my energy. And as I share, I'm going to be refilled because I am love giving unto love, self giving unto self, divinity giving unto divinity. And so I will be able to live in this constant experience of being, receiving, exuding, emanating love. And that is the greatest need and the greatest gift. Because that transforms how we think, how we live, how we shop, how we eat, how we vote, how we govern. Every aspect of our lives, from the highest to the most minute, from the most personal to the policy international level.
That's so true, Sadhviji. And I think this is also answering, actually, in this one answer, you have answered several questions altogether because you've given us the fundamentals. And I think that's what's been so beautiful about the talk, that we've really come down to the fundamentals, right? That it's not what's happening outside, that we can't get that happiness from external circumstances. It's within us. And your journey has taught us this, your personal journey, after having everything, a degree from Stanford, a PhD, and then coming to, being a top student and realizing that all of this is a little superficial. A deeper kind of happiness exists, and that lies within, and that should be governing everything in our lives. And if that governs everything in our lives, it governs the planet, it governs the world. And this is how we can heal. That's how we can come home to ourselves, right? The title of your book.
And Ira, that's the new normal that we need to find in this lockdown. in ourselves so that when our doors open, we can actually bring that to the world.
And if we are that, then we can probably bring that in a better way, right? I mean, if we try and live
It's the
that
only way.
ourselves.
You cannot give anything to the world that you don't have. If I'm an air conditioner, all I can give you is cold air. It'll be great in July. It'll be really troublesome in January. But it's all I have. And in the same way, if what I have is anger and frustration and greed and despair, that's what I'm going to share with the world. And that's why when people hurt us, it's so important to realize they're just being like air conditioners. They're just giving us the cold air because it's all they have. And if I really experience the truth of who I am as love and touch that and am that, that's what I share with the world. And of course, I'm the first beneficiary of it because then I'm living in an internal experience of love. And I bring that to everyone in the world. And that is the new normal we are supposed to be creating. The days of the illusion of separation are over. It is time for us to really emerge into the truth of our oneness, our togetherness as this one global family. And the thread that weaves this global family together is love.
Thank you so much, Sadhviji. I think that's a beautiful place to stop for all of us to think about. Thank you so much for your precious time. Thank you. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting in the beginning for a few minutes as we got the tech together. We saw you meditating, and I said we're getting her vibrations. Thank you so much, Sadhviji, for your wonderful words and for your support to the Being
Thank
Yoga
you.
Festival and for encouraging everyone to give. Thank you, Sadhviji. See you again very soon.
Thank you so much,
Jai
Erin.
Shri
Keep up
Krishna.
this beautiful, beautiful work. Jai Shri Krishna.
Inspired by you, Sadhviji. Inspired by you. Thank you.